Hat Man. No, not this Hat Man. People all over the world report seeing the same shadow figure, a tall man wearing a hat. They've never met. So why do they all describe him the same way? The real Hat Man isn't a joke. People around the world report waking up unable to move and seeing a tall shadow standing near their bed. He doesn't speak. He just watches. Many see him during sleep paralysis. But here's the part that's hard to explain. They describe the same hat. Appearing globally across cultures, this figure is typically seen in doorways or corners, watching individuals with a malicious or menacing presence.
This patient would apparently wake up in the middle of the night to see Hat Man standing at the foot of their bed, watching them sleep. And as a result, they were not really sleeping much.
His appearance is often a solid, dark, human-like silhouette, often 6 to 10 feet tall, necessitating crouching, and always wearing a wide-brimmed hat or fedora. His eyes are often reported as glowing red eyes, but often featureless and dark. His unmistakable clothing is frequently depicted in a long coat, such as a trench coat or cape. The Hat Man's behavior is observed standing still, watching from a corner, closet, or doorway, sometimes hovering over the bed, just watching you unable to move.
So the therapist prescribes some pretty heavy sleeping medication, and as a result, the patient starts getting a little better. But then one day, the patient comes in and just looks like they had seen a ghost. So the therapist asked them what was wrong, and they said that as they were getting in the car to come to therapy, they saw Hat Man standing across the street during the day.
You don't only see the Hat Man at night. He's been spotted in daylight too, standing in doorways, hallways, even sunlit rooms. Tall, dark, wearing his wide-brimmed hat and long coat. Even with the sun streaming in, the air goes cold. He's watching silently. Even in daylight, seeing the Hat Man is terrifying. People report a sudden chill, an overwhelming sense of dread, and the feeling that something is watching their every move. Time seems to slow, and for a moment, the world goes quiet, as if reality itself is holding its breath while he stands there, silently. Have you ever entered a room only to find the Hat Man waiting for you? Did you see the Hat Man just waiting? I would not go back in there alone. They say there was a real Hat Man. His name was Bob Evans.
This man was a menace during the Civil War. Bob Evans, known as the Hat Man, lived in the foothills of Kentucky in the 1800s. A solitary farmer with no family, Bob made a living off his land. In 1864, as battles raged near his property, soldiers frequently trespassed, trampling his crops. The repeated destruction pushed Bob to a breaking point, and he decided to act.
While this would make for the start of a good movie, it's more likely that the Hat Man is shared hallucination, often appearing during sleep paralysis as a dark, shadowy figure in a wide-brimmed hat, evoking intense fear, but is considered a psychological phenomenon, not a literal entity, likely stemming from REM sleep glitches or cultural archetypes rather than an external being, though paranormal explanations persist. Let's watch some. Let's see what happens to this pool cleaner. That man seems to be paralyzed from the Hat Man's tricks.
The Hat Man is such an interesting topic to me because back in the 70s, sleep clinics started to notice this pattern amongst their patients. Over the course of the next 20 years or so, they noticed that a large amount of the patients that were seeking help with their sleep all described seeing the same figure. A dark, shadowy figure wearing a top hat and standing in the doorway or in the corner of their room watching them sleep. And what researchers found most interesting was that these reports all came from people who had never heard of each other, spanning across different countries, cultures, and religions. And none of these people had an explanation for who or what this entity was. They had no name for it either. So doctors specializing in sleep wanted to study this phenomenon because they believed it showed one of the clearest examples of how the human brain constructs hallucinations in a really predictable way, because why were all of these people feeling a presence when none existed, and why was this specific entity consistent across a spectrum of humanity? But unfortunately, their studies didn't explain a whole lot about this either. They determined it to just be a hallucination that occurs during sleep paralysis, where your body is pretty much paralyzed, but you're fully conscious. But being classified as a hallucination by doctors doesn't stop people from believing that the Hat Man is a real entity. Some people have even claimed to have captured pictures of him, and if that's true, then that begs the question, how are we seeing him on film if he's just a figment of our imagination?
What if the Hat Man really is just a hallucination and everyone is just seeing the same entity that isn't real? I have woken up and been paralyzed. It's no fun. Why didn't I get to see the Hat Man? Maybe it's better that I didn't.
He moved into a new house and encountered this. Josh moved into a new house in Canada, and one night he hears noises in the house and captures something from a nightmare.
I keep hearing shit up here. I left it on, so that's okay.
A black shadow figure can be seen just standing there watching him, but seconds later it's gone. The figure has no features and appears to be wearing a hat, leading Josh to believe it's the Hat Man, a shadow person often seen by people during sleep paralysis. The next night he hears noises downstairs and captures true terror.
Let's not forget there was somebody in our house. By the way.
That is one angry Hat Man. He does not want you going into the basement. I would keep clear of it until you can have it cleansed and get that bad energy out of there. If you need help clearing out negative energy, you can try using 417 Hz. It's said to have healing, renewal, and transformative properties to dissolve negative energies. Let's listen. I know I feel better already. Okay, on to the next one.
I have a picture of the Hat Man that was taken in real life and I completely forgot that I had it. Let's get into it. So I personally have never experienced the Hat Man phenomenon, but I am also personally fascinated by it. I understand that sleep paralysis is a real phenomenon, okay? I understand that it is a real scientific thing that happens in our brains between wake and sleep, but I just don't understand why in the whole entirety of the world, all across the world, in all different people, with our big brains and our individual fears, that the Hat Man seems to be the thing that people see the most. Like, surely individual people would all see individual things that are terrifying to our own individual brains, right? Similarly, people see the hag during these sleep paralysis episodes. Like, why is everybody seeing the same thing during sleep paralysis? It doesn't make any sense.
During sleep paralysis, your brain is awake, but your body isn't. It's hyper-alert and prone to filling in shapes with fear. That's why so many people see the same thing. A tall, dark figure wearing a hat. Some say it's just the mind playing tricks. Others think it might be something more. When the Hat Man shows up, people can't move, can't scream. A weight pins them down, their chest tightens, and fear courses through every nerve. Some feel like he's leaning closer, watching, waiting. Even when they finally wake, the terror lingers, like he never really left. Whether he appears in the dead of night, in a sunlit room, or in the shadowed corners of your own home, the Hat Man leaves the same mark. A chilling reminder that some things might be watching when we least expect it. People all over the world, from every culture and every walk of life, describe the same dark figure, wearing the same wide-brimmed hat, standing silently, waiting, just watching. Some say it's only a trick of the mind, a moment of fear when our bodies refuse to move and our brains fill in the shapes. Others swear it's real, that he exists somewhere just beyond the edge of our perception. Whatever the truth may be, the stories persist, and the Hat Man continues to appear in the corners of bedrooms, doorways, and hallways, in darkness or in daylight, always leaving the same sense of dread. If this video sent a shiver down your spine, consider giving it a like. It really helps the channel continue exploring mysteries like this. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, so you'll be the first to see the next encounter with the unknown. The Hat Man is always out there, watching. Are you ready to see him again?